now we're revved up and ready for the penultimate superheats of this round of the championship. DD2 and DD2-Masters now out on circuit. Following on from the ranking after heats, Nicolas Guillaume starts from pole position, 2 wins and a third yesterday. Nikita Genza from Germany lines up alongside on the front row. A second, a win and a third for the DD2-Master kart driver. Dylan LaHaye, first time as a DD2 driver and with a different team here at Mariembourg. Yesterday picked up a third and 2 successive second place finishes, putting him P3 on the grid. Karl Clabor leads the way in Masters. The 540 will line up on the outside of row 2. Imke Arts and Christophe Capitan round out row 3 in the 405 and the 599. Frederick Zebis Christensen said to me fuel pump issues were the drama yesterday, which is why the Dane was not firing on all cylinders, so to speak, or all one cylinder and 125cc of displacement. He starts 7th. Alongside him will be Kian de Brandt, Michael Becker, Luca Neuenhausen and Maximilian Adolf round out the top 11, also the 11-strong grid. Neuenhausen also said to me about the fuel pump problem. So hopefully these drivers have all the kinks and the bugs out of the system. Air temperature has increased and has gone to 16 degrees. Humidity now down to 77%. Wind has picked up, northwesterly, nearly 20 kilometers an hour. So the drivers make their way up the slight incline here on the start-finish straight through into the chicane. 12 minutes on the timer plus an additional lap for the superheat to decide who is going to be leading the final intermediate classification. Into the tram lines. Revs rise. Lights are on. Lights are out. Good start by Guillaume and LaHaye as Genza slots in front of him. Imke Arts, who's moved up a position already on Karl Clabor, who's being battled with Christophe, who's intertwined into battle with Christophe Capitan. That is for 5th, and more importantly, the lead in the Masters class. Out of turn 4 for the first time, into the fast right-hander through 5 and into the hard braking zone into Chemin de Fer. So at the moment, it's an SP Motorsport 1-2, followed by DD2-Master and then Shapers Racing, completing the top 4 when you look at the respective liveries of these karts that are showcased front and centre on your screens at home. But after the opening lap, it's going to be a very, very fractional lead, but it's going to change. LaHaye up the inside of Guillaume, and Guillaume now goes, well, I'm sorry, you're not getting through on me, and that opens the door for Nikita Genza. Oh, and Dylan LaHaye makes a mistake. Let's not forget, he's run here plenty of times as a senior, but this is his first effort as a DD2 driver. Now through into Piff Paff. And into Escargot. Guillaume still holds on to that lead. Briefly lost it for one corner and gained it straight back, but a big bump unsettling the back axle and the front end on Dylan LaHaye's coming out of Escargot from the second to last right-hander. Now Genza's going to go for the lead as we start lap 3. Up the inside goes the 407 from Germany. Now starts defending into turn number 2. Guillaume is going to try and see what he can do and get past, but not into turn 3. Imke Arts now latches onto the back of this battle, making it a quartet at the front end of the field. Fredrik Sebis Christensen, in the meantime, has got through on Christophe Capitan and is eager to join the battle up front. Guillaume dive bombs up the inside at Chemin de Fer and gets through on Genza at exactly the same time. It was like it was choreographed. Imke Arts through at Chemin de Fer for third place on Dylan LaHaye. Now that's closing things up behind the top 2, who have an initial breakaway, about 4 to 6 kart lengths between Genza and Arts. Now Genza on full attack, full push. Across the line, Genza back to the inside, here into T1, retakes the lead. And Fredrik Sebis Christensen was trying to look up the inside of Carl Clebor, and now the pair at the front end. They start squeezing each other onto the run through into turn number 2. 2 young DD2 drivers, part of the new guard coming into this 2-speed gearbox category in Rotax racing. And now to the back of Nicolas Guillaume, starts to latch on Imke Arts and Dylan LaHaye. So Genza's lead over Guillaume is about 2 to 3 kart lengths out of the final right-hander. Now the push. Genza leads after lap 4. Lead now is just under 0.25 of a second. Dylan LaHaye, new fastest lap, 55.350. One of the beautiful things I love about DD2 and DD2 Masters, I mean, first of all, if I was going to compete in a race, I would be in the Masters class, 100%, because I am more than over that, the minimum age requirement for that. But there is an art to gearbox driving. So through out of Escargot on lap number 5. Genza now will have led a second successive lap in a row from start to, well, one tour around this 1,388 meter circuit. Now that's going to be 3 of them. 0.26 is the gap between Genza and Guillaume. Imke Arts, who's been battling away in the Chrono Karting Dutch Championship with Guillaume, knows very well what her opponent is capable of. But since the switch to KR machinery for 2024, Imke Arts has had a new lease of life, and that's clearly showing right now because she's right on the wheel tracks of Guillaume. Now, Fredrik Sebis Christensen makes it a quintet. I've been waiting for this moment all weekend for Fredrik Sebis Christensen with RS Competition to join the battle at the front end of the field. And with 6 minutes and 40 to go, folks, unpredictability is set in motion right now. And Fredrik Sebis Christensen goes for the move on Dylan LaHaye, decides not to do it, but last 2 laps, the Dane has been faster than anybody. New fastest lap, 54.949. Genza, last time around, was quickest. Oh, and Dylan LaHaye robustly gets up the inside of Imke Arts. She goes wide coming through turn 3, and Sebis Christensen is through for 4th place. A little bit further behind, the battle for DD2 Masters supremacy is very much up front and centre stage right now. Carl Glibor battling with Christophe Capitan. Michael Becker on the Comp Kart chassis, running down in 10th overall and 3rd in class. Glibor and Capitan, they shared the wins. 2 to Glibor, 1 to Capitan yesterday. Genza starting to try and eke out that little bit of a gap between himself and Nicolas Guillaume as Fredrik Sebis Christensen through the braking zone into turn number 3, closes right up to the rear bumper of Dylan LaHaye. The attack, the pulling of the trigger by the Dane is going to be imminent. I think that might be the case. It could be down into turn 6, not quite this time, But Imke Arts has now managed to recompose, regather herself up, dust herself off, and go after the two in front, and also the two in front of them as well. There's still just under 5 minutes plus that additional lap still to go. And what's more, Christophe Capitan has been overtaken by Kian de Brandt from Belgium. The 4.50 puts himself in between Clebot and Capitan. As after the opening 8 laps, we now have 5 drivers covered by just under 1.2 seconds. Imke Arts, fastest in Sector 1 overall, and she is charging. Zebis Christensen over the last 2 sectors. Sector 2 will end when we go through the halfway point of Escargot. And then also Sector 3, the Dane has been quickest. So that time, Zebis Christensen was quickest through that second sector. LaHaye set a personal best in Sector 2. And it's a very short Sector 3. Well, Sector 1's the quickest of the lot. But look at how close they are. Top 5 covered by just under 9.5 tenths of a second. This is where the cat and mouse game, the strategy that you have to play in DD2. It's not play your cards, play your best hand on the table at the same time. It's wait for that opportunity to present itself, or sometimes you have to make that opportunity happen. And again, also, careful negotiation of the curbing. You know, you've got to have that mechanical sympathy built in as a racing driver, predominantly also in karting. You're very exposed to the elements. So lap 10 now completed. Nikita Genza continues to lead, having led from around lap 3 onwards. Dylan LaHaye again tries to get through. This is going to open the door possibly for not just LaHaye, Zebis Christensen and Imke Arts. They all get through at turn 2. Guillaume dumped down to 5th place like he was pushed off the swing in the playground and now has to start fighting back. Now, if Zebis Christensen can get his way past Dylan LaHaye, I think the Dane will be able to push completely. At the moment, the focus is get past the driver in front of you. Sometimes all it takes is one move, one possible window of opportunity. And then if you can make it through, it's a good one. Down the straight again we go, and that's the move that he needed to do. Zebis Christensen up the inside through turn 1 on the beginning of lap 12. And now Guillaume starts to close on in on Imke Arts. LaHaye going defensive through turn 3. But now this has given Nikita Genza the opportunity to start striding away. There's under a minute and a half to go, plus an additional lap in this DD2 and DD2-Master Superheat as Guillaume clashes wheels with Imke Arts. And the 4.05 off the circuit coming out of Chemin de Fer. Oh, that was way too close there for the pair of them. That's a real shame for Imke Arts, but we are going to go on to our second from last lap. Zebis Christensen now has 3 laps to try and chase down and pass a certain Nikita Genza. The gap now 0.435 of a second. And what's more, Zebis Christensen is nearly 0.2 of a second quicker on the previous lap than Genza. So there is a possibility, there is a window that could see Fredrik Zebis Christensen pick up his first win since the final at Karting Genk at the opening round. And that gap is shrinking. So the next right-hander will bring us onto the start-finish straight for what will be the penultimate time. Time is fast, counting down. Are we going to have 2 to go, or are we going to go onto the final lap? Final lap it is, and look how close the Dane is to Nikita Genza. He's going to wait and then pull the trigger at the last second possible and not give Genza an opportunity to react. It's not going to be through turn 3. It could be down at turn 6. LaHaye is going to be there in the pound seat waiting for his opportunity if the two in front tangle. Down to Chemin de Fer for the final time at turn 6. This is going to be a run to the line, I think. Sebis Christensen was absolutely motoring coming out of the final right-hander, because here we go. Will it be Genza? Will it be Sebis Christensen? Sebis Christensen sticks his nose out going into the final right-hander, but it's the run to the line. The winner of the DD2 and DD2-Master Superheat. It's going to be a drag race to the line. It's going to be Genza. Genza by 4/100ths of a second after 14 laps. Well, the final is going to be interesting, that's for damn sure, because I think we just got a precursor from Fredrik Sebis Christensen to all comers, including our superheat winner, Germany's Nikita Genza, who wins by 4/1000ths of a second. Fredrik Sebis Christensen started 6th, started in 7th, finished in P2. Ahead of Dylan LaHaye, Nicolas Guillaume finishes 4th, ahead of Imke Arts. Kian de Brandt takes 6th, ahead of DD2 Masters class winner, Carl Clabor. That's 3 out of 4 for the debacker in this particular race meeting. Ahead of Christophe Capitain, P2 in Masters, 8th overall. Luca Neuenhausen, Michael Becker, and Maximilian Adolphe round out the 11 strong field, all of them finishing after 14 laps.